Hello, all you aficionados, and welcome to a very special edition of Fry Friday. You'll notice I have absolutely zero fish in the background. These are the future home of, though this is the former home of my fry tank. I will eventually bring my fry from my summer tubbing um, outdoor guppy ponds. They will go in one of these tanks. Probably this one again, I would guess, just as a grow out and as a place for them to as a place for me to be able to separate the genders as quickly as possible to prevent any future unwanted breeding. Anyways, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is this has been teacher work week for us and first week back to work, and so it's made me very reflective of being in school. Obviously, I'm a teacher. I'm very focused on that, and our first day back to actual school with the students is the day after Labor Day, which is this coming Tuesday when this video is filmed. And for a while since last spring, I've been talking about and thinking about, and I told Abby, I'll put a link to her channel up in this video at this point probably, and then Carter, who haven't seen him around in the chat for a while, that I would make him a video. So here it finally is. So this Fry Friday video is actually for the human fry out there, the children, the youth, the students, the future of our country, the next generation of fish hobbyists, the next generation in general for our country, and our world, most importantly. Next generation, super important. I'm going to tell you my personal story, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of inspiration, and you might understand a little bit more about some of my videos and might make it just a tiny bit more sense to you. So I'll get started at the very beginning, I guess you would say. Starting in about 4th grade, I started being bullied twice a day on the bus, in the morning and in the afternoon on the bus. When I say bullied, I mean actually physically beaten up. I would come in with bruises on my arm in this area especially. There'd be usually sometimes as many as 4 or 5 guys fighting me or pounding on me at one time. Sometimes I'd be pinned in between the seats to where I couldn't fight back at all, and even if I wanted to, which most of them I didn't, and they would just go to town just wailing on me. And obviously I'd come home bruised and stuff. Didn't ever have any bruises on my face, but always got bruises on my arms. There was a little bit of bullying in school. That was more so social bullying. Some things were kind of ridiculous. One was really bad in 10th grade. I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, that was the main. It was almost on a daily basis from 4th through 10th grade. And the frustrating thing was that whenever I would tell an adult or I report it to an adult in school, I would get called to the principal's office, and then the principal would then call down the bullies or call the bullies in the high school next door, and they would get in trouble, and they'd obviously know that it was me that reported the incident. So then they would get frustrated and angry and take out the fact that they got in trouble on me. So what would happen? I would get beat up again. So sometimes I would make the choice to fight back, and when that happened, we all got in trouble. I got in trouble for fighting, they got in trouble for fighting, and it was just didn't work out. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I've been there. Looking at me, most people, their first guess, if they just look at me and don't like talk to me or get to know me at all, their first guess is that I would have been the bully, not the one that was the target of the bullies. But I was the target of the bullies. They picked on me. There's never a reason for bullying. Let me just first start off by saying there's never a reason for being bullied. There's never a good reason for it. There's never an excuse for it. But the things that made them jealous of me, that gave them the inner inspiration, I guess you would say, to choose to bully, was the fact that they were jealous that I was smarter than they were sometimes, that I was better behaved so I didn't get in trouble, almost ever, unless I fought back, and then I got in trouble too. And I was kind of nerdy. I still am, but I own that now. I'll get to that in a minute too. I tucked in my t-shirts. That wasn't really a reason, that was just a thing that I think is funny that I used to do, but just to give you a little example of what young me was like. And like, so I guess that was their inspirations, was me being smarter, not getting in trouble, and I guess they consider me to be an easy target. Also, I stutter, which is, I've stuttered ever since I can remember, probably starting as early as 5 or 6 years old is when it started. I don't tend to stutter when I'm teaching in front of my students. It does happen sometimes. It happens more often when I'm speaking to adults. I stutter horribly on the phone. I stutter horribly whenever I'm ordering food at restaurants, whenever someone asks me to say my own name, because when I say my own name or when I'm ordering food at a restaurant, I can't choose any other options of what words to use other than the exact correct answer. A lot of times when I'm at a restaurant or someone asks me my name or where I work or what school I work at, I will say and I'll get stuck because there aren't any other options for me. There aren't any other avenues for me to go down as far as word choices go. And when that happens, they look at me and they treat me, and they'll sometimes say, "You don't know your own name, you don't know where you work, you don't know what you want to eat," and it's like a condescending, like, "You're so stupid, you don't know your own name, you don't know what you want to eat, you don't know where you work," kind of thing. And I've gotten used to it, and it doesn't really it's just kind of irritating. But then the moment I tell them, and I usually try to tell them beforehand, "Give me a second, I stutter," so that way if I tell them afterwards when they say, "You don't know your own name, you don't know what you want to eat, you don't know where you work," if I tell them after they say that I stutter, they feel really stupid and they feel really bad. So to avoid them from feeling bad, I usually try to tell them in advance, "Hey, I stutter. Please be patient with me. I do know the words I want. It just takes me a while to actually get the words to come out." I don't stutter like Porky Pig. It's not that kind. It's more of a block. So sometimes to help to get those words out, I will say So in my videos, if you hear me saying it's not because I'm trying to think of the next word to say. It's because I am usually stuttering, and I'm having somewhat of a block getting from my brain out to my mouth. And that was just a thought. I'm sorry, that wasn't a very good example. But the stuttering causes stress, like an inner stress and a tension that actually causes me to get worn out, and it actually becomes a little bit painful at times. So that was another thing my bullies picked on me for, although I don't ever think that's a reason. I was called names. Sergeant Stutter came around when Addams Family movie came out. Porky Pig, Elmer Fudd. I was picked on for being fat. That's another thing. I was picked on for being fat. I was called Shamu the Whale, Thunder Thighs. My thighs are actually not very fat. My legs are very not fat. It's really strange. My students are really, the first time they ever see me in shorts on the field trip, they're like, "You don't have cankles." I'm like, "No, I don't." They're like, "You have muscular legs." I'm like, "I know." So I don't understand the whole thunder thighs thing. That was just a stupid one. What else would I be called? Lots of things. So there's lots of reasons that they picked on me for and bullied me. And so then finally in 10th grade, they started to be driven by friends who had their driver's licenses, so they no longer rode the bus, so I no longer got beat up. The absolute worst and last time I got bullied was in the locker room in 10th grade. A bully thought it'd be funny to try to light my hair on fire, like a projectile flame, which was not successful, but he did successfully light my gym shirt on fire, which I took off and put the flame out, and nothing ever happened, and that was the end of it. So then fast forward 2 years to my senior year, I was in government class with my main bully. and he was talking about how he was glad that Ricky, me, didn't come to school and do anything crazy like those guys at Columbine. And our government teacher, she stopped in her track and said, "What? What are you talking about? Why would Ricky do that?" And he was like, "I used to be really mean to Ricky." And she looks over at me and she's like, "Is that true?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "What do you two get along just fine?" I'm like, "I know." I was like, "I forgave him." She's like, "What happened?" And he told her, he's like, "I used to go to town to him all day long, twice a day, just beat him up, had him pinned in the seats and stuff." And the whole time she's just looking at me like, "Did this really happen?" And I said, "Yeah, it really happened." And the thing is that if I were to hold a grudge against him or not forgive him, then he was just taking up space for rent for free in my head, and he that those actions didn't deserve that free space in my head. So high school was the first time I forgave him. After high school, I still forgave him, and every time I have seen him ever since, he apologizes every time. And I tell him every single time, I say, I appreciate it, but you really don't have to apologize to me anymore. I'm fine. What didn't kill me has made me stronger. I forgave you a long time ago. And in fact, I actually use it as an example for my students. I use it as stories for my students, let them know that I've been there and I know how they feel. So from the lemons, I made it into a lemonade. So I do see him every once in a while. We've been to concerts together. We are friends now. The other bullies, we get along just fine. I used to hang out with them after high school and get along just fine. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel. It does get better. So I just want you all that might be going through that to know that it does get better. So how does this relate to my channel and my fish tanks? Well, as an adult now, I can say that I own my nerdiness. I mean, I'm wearing the Fish Fam shirt that Priscilla made right now. Wore it all day at school today during teacher work week. And someone actually made a comment about it, like, "Hey, what's that?" And I told him, I was like, "This is my group of friends on YouTube. It's a pretty awesome group, very supportive and stuff." And another ulterior motive and reasoning for me having fish tanks in my classroom is to show my students, hey, do whatever it is that you enjoy, that's your hobby, and don't worry what anyone else is going to think. If you own it and you say, "Hey, I'm a fish nerd," or "Hey, I'm a, Minecraft nerd or geek or video gamer," or whatever it is, or "I personally know how to crochet and knit," what are you going to say now? There's lots of things that if you own it and you take it as your own self, you don't give the bully any room or anything that they can say or do to you. Especially in my case, what I do a lot is I use humor. Even with my stuttering, I'll make jokes about that. And if I make jokes about it, then it lightens the mood, and then the other person has nothing to say to pick on me about. If I talk about me being a fish nerd, then what are they going to call me? A person who likes to keep fish tanks? That's kind of nerdy or whatever. What are they gonna say? They have nothing else. I have stolen their thunder. I know how to knit and crochet, and I'll tell them, "Here's my man card." What are they gonna say now? You know what I do? I do that when I'm watching TV or bored sometimes. So I taught students how to do it. It's a good fidget thing. Before the fidget spinner thing came around, that was why I did that. That was why I learned how to do it. From a girl that I cheered with in college. Yeah, I cheered in college. What are you going to say now? You have nothing to say about that, do you? Because here's the great thing. It was me and 23 girls. Well, and 2 other guys too, but still. That was awesome. Awesome exercise, the best shape I've ever been in my life. I own that. Because when I talk about that, no one else can try to make fun of me for that. When I was in college and I told people I cheered, at first the guy was like, oh, you must be blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I don't care. I'm proud of the fact that I cheered. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the exercise, the practice, the socialization was obviously the best part. Socializing with, a great team like that. And the team was mostly girls, obviously. So it was great. What else people made fun of me for? Oh, being fat. Okay. I have a second chin. I've mentioned it in videos. My second and third chins that tend to go away when I drink less Mountain Dew, which, as you see, that filter back there is made out of a Mountain Dew bottle. So I make fun of my own self for being, but not to the point that where it's like degrading or like, oh, all the time, like Eeyore kind of thing. But if I just say it one time, then that person has no power over me, especially if I use humor. So that's my tip to you all that might be going through it. So whatever it is that you think is nerdy that you're going through, or that isn't, masculine or manly enough or whatever, take the power away from the bully. That's how you deal with it. If that's not working, even if it is working, let an adult know, a trusted adult. Go to an adult. Okay? That's the best way to do it. A trusted adult that you know will take care of it, that you trust will keep it confidential and that will take care of it in the correct way. I take care of it in ways when my students come to me. I take care of it in a way that the bully never knows who it was that reported them. It keeps them safe. Keeps the bully from retaliating on them. So that's how I take care of it. So if you're watching this and I teach you, or I know you in person, feel free to come to me in person and talk to me about it. Because I will take care of it in a way that your bully will never know that it was you. Because usually, if the bully is doing it to you, other people are seeing it. So bullies, beware. I think that's all I have to say for right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. I think it was a very personal edition of Fry Friday. Tomorrow, for Local Fish Store Saturday, I will be showing you one of my favorite of all times fish stores that I've ever been to. And it was actually my test. Oh, I don't want to give away too much. It was a test, is what I'll leave it at that. But my favorite one, and friends in college would be like, oh, you're a nerd, you're going to a fish store that's an hour away. I'm like, you have no idea. And you know what? I still had a fish tank in my room, and people would come by my dorm room just to come look at my fish tank. They didn't have any power over me then. So, hope you found this inspirational. I hope you found it informative about me. Maybe I make a little bit more sense to you. I hope you can use this to apply in your life for some of you. If you know anyone that could benefit from hearing any of this, please feel free to share this video. I'm an open book when it comes to talking about my bullying past and my stuttering issues, which are much worse than what most of you will ever hear on video, on my live streams and on my videos. For the most part, I don't stutter that bad as what I do in person. So feel free to ask me any questions you want. I'm an open book when it comes to those things. I have no problem with talking about my bullying past or my stuttering or even my weight, which I'm currently trying to convert some of this flab into, muscle. Actually, I'm supposed to be going to the gym any minute now, so to go work on these guns. But anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share it with anybody, and you keep it fishy, people.